You're not welcome here. My daughter's words sliced through me like a blade of ice, her finger pointing toward the door of her perfect suburban home. Behind her, colourful balloons bobbed against the ceiling, and a happy fifth birthday Lily banner hung crookedly on the wall. My granddaughter peered around her mother's legs, confusion clouding her innocent eyes. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. I stood frozen on her doorstep, gift bag dangling from my fingers, the pink tissue paper rustling in the autumn breeze. How had we come to this? My own daughter, Sarah, the little girl I'd once carried on my shoulders, now stood before me as a stranger, her face contorted with an anger I couldn't understand. "Dad, please just go," she whispered, her voice dropping as neighbors walked past, curious glances thrown our way. "Today isn't about you." But somehow, I knew it was. I never intended to become estranged from my only child. The distance between us grew slowly, like a crack in a foundation that starts as barely visible, but eventually threatens the entire structure. 5 years ago, when my wife Elaine died after 34 years of marriage, Sarah was my rock. She helped arrange the funeral, sorted through Elaine's belongings, and called me every day for months afterward. "You're doing great, Dad," she'd say over the phone, her voice warm with encouragement. Mom would be proud. I wasn't doing great. The silence in our house was deafening. I'd wake up reaching for Elaine, only to find cold sheets beside me. I'd cook meals for two out of habit, then stand in the kitchen staring at the extra plate. Grief consumed me like a slow-burning fire. When Sarah announced her pregnancy 3 months after the funeral, it felt like the first ray of sunshine breaking through storm clouds. I threw myself into preparations for my first grandchild, converting my home office into a nursery for visits, researching the safest car seats, and reading books on modern grandparenting. "Dad, you don't have to do all this," Sarah said when she visited and saw the nursery. "We live 30 minutes away. The baby won't be staying overnight anytime soon." "I just want to be ready," I told her, not mentioning how the project gave me purpose, a reason to get out of bed in the morning. When Lily was born, I held that tiny bundle in my arms and felt my heart expand. She had Elaine's eyes, deep blue with a curious sparkle. I whispered to her about her grandmother, promising to tell her all the stories Elaine would have shared herself. For the first 2 years, I was a fixture in Lily's life. I'd babysit while Sarah and her husband Tom worked. I'd take her to the park every Thursday morning, letting her toddle through grass and point at squirrels. "Papa," she'd call me, reaching up with chubby hands. The trouble began when Tom got a promotion. With his new 6-figure salary came a bigger house in an upscale neighborhood and new friends with impressive titles. Sarah quit her job to become a full-time mother, joining playgroups and Mommy and Me classes. Their social media showcased a picture-perfect family. Coordinated outfits for family photos, elaborate holiday decorations, organic homemade baby food artfully arranged on monogrammed plates. My weekly visits became monthly, then occasional. Each time I arrived at their new home, I felt increasingly out of place among the gleaming appliances and designer furniture. My retired teacher's pension and modest lifestyle seemed to embarrass Sarah in front of her new friends. "Dad, could you maybe wear something a little nicer next time?" she'd suggest after I showed up in my comfortable jeans and flannel shirt. "And the car. Have you thought about trading it in? That old Toyota is practically an antique." I didn't understand why my appearance suddenly mattered so much. The car ran perfectly fine. The clothes were clean and comfortable. But I started noticing Sarah introducing me with qualifiers. "This is my dad. He was a high school English teacher before he retired," as if she needed to explain away my ordinary existence. Then came the incident at Lily's 3rd birthday party. Sarah had hired a professional party planner, a photographer, and even a small petting zoo for the backyard. I arrived early to help set up, bringing a handmade wooden dollhouse I'd spent months crafting in my garage. "Oh, Dad," Sarah said when she saw it, her voice tight with forced enthusiasm. "That's thoughtful, but we already got Lily the Dream Castle playset." It's what she asked for specifically. I placed my gift with the others, trying to ignore the sinking feeling in my stomach. During the party, I overheard Sarah talking to another mother near the punch bowl. "My dad's still struggling since Mom died," she said in a hushed tone. "He doesn't quite fit in with our lifestyle now, but what can you do? Family obligation, you know." Family obligation. The words echoed in my mind for days afterward. Was that all I was to her now? An obligation? The real breaking point came 6 months later. Tom's parents invited Sarah, Tom, and Lily to join them for a 2-week vacation in Hawaii. When they returned, sun-kissed and laden with photos, I noticed something strange. Every picture they shared included Tom's parents, but there was never any mention of a similar trip with me. "I'd love to take Lily to the lake this summer," I suggested during a visit. "Remember how you used to love fishing off the dock when you were her age?" Sarah exchanged a look with Tom. "Dad, we've been meaning to talk to you about that. We don't really feel comfortable with Lily staying overnight with you anymore." "What? Why not?" "You're getting older, Dad. Your house isn't exactly child-proofed. And you live alone. What if something happened during the night?" I was 65, not 95. I hiked 3 miles every morning and volunteered at the community garden twice a week. There was nothing wrong with my house. I'd even installed special locks and outlet covers specifically for Lily's visits. "Sarah, that doesn't make any sense. I'm perfectly capable." "It's not up for discussion," Tom interrupted. "We're Lily's parents, and we decide what's best for her." After that, my visits became supervised interactions in their home, with Sarah or Tom always present, monitoring our conversations, correcting me if I mentioned something from the past they deemed inappropriate. "Dad, we don't talk about Mom that way in front of Lily. It's too confusing for her," Sarah scolded when I started telling a story about Elaine's famous Christmas cookies. "Confusing? To know about her grandmother?" "We have our own traditions now," Sarah replied firmly. Gradually, the invitations stopped coming altogether. I'd call and leave messages that went unreturned for days. I'd send small gifts for Lily that were acknowledged with brief, formal texts. My granddaughter's voice on the phone became unfamiliar, coached and distant. "Thank you for the present, Grandpa," she'd recite mechanically. "I have to go now." I tried to understand what I'd done wrong. Had grief changed me more than I realized? Was I somehow a negative influence on my granddaughter? I sent Sarah a long email asking for clarity, for a chance to fix whatever needed fixing. Her response was brief. "We're just very busy right now, Dad. Lily has a full schedule of activities, and we're focusing on our immediate family unit. I'll call when things settle down." Things never settled down. Months passed with minimal contact. I watched Lily grow through carefully curated social media posts. Her first day of preschool, dance recitals, play dates with children I didn't know. I sent birthday and Christmas cards, sometimes receiving acknowledgement, sometimes not, until yesterday when I made a decision. Lily's 5th birthday was approaching, and I hadn't received an invitation. Instead of waiting for one that might never come, I decided to simply show up, gift in hand, heart open and hopeful, which led to this moment, standing on my daughter's porch, being told I wasn't welcome at my only grandchild's birthday party. "Sarah, please," I said quietly, conscious of the neighbors' curious glances. "I just want to give Lily her present. 5 minutes, that's all I'm asking." "You should have called first," she hissed, keeping her voice low. "You can't just show up like this. We have guests coming." "I'm family, not a guest," I replied, the hurt making my voice waver. When did I become someone who needs an invitation to see his granddaughter on her birthday? Something flickered across Sarah's face, uncertainty, perhaps even shame, but it hardened again quickly. "This isn't the time to discuss this. Please, just go." From inside the house came the sound of the doorbell ringing. Sarah glanced over her shoulder nervously. "That'll be the Wilsons," she muttered. "They're on the neighborhood board with Tom." I understood then. I was an embarrassment to her carefully constructed image, a reminder of a simpler past she wanted to forget. My presence would raise questions from her prestigious new friends, questions she didn't want to answer. "Fine," I said, placing the gift bag gently on the doorstep. "Tell Lily I love her." I turned and walked back to my old Toyota, feeling decades older than when I'd arrived. As I backed out of the driveway, I saw Tom greeting another couple at the door, all perfect smiles and handshakes, while Sarah quickly whisked my gift inside, as if removing evidence of a crime. The drive home was a blur. I kept seeing Sarah's face, trying to reconcile the cold woman at the door with the daughter who once made me macaroni necklaces and called me her hero. What had happened to us? When had status and appearances become more important than family? At home, I sat in my silent living room, surrounded by photos of a life that no longer existed. Sarah's graduation, family camping trips, Elaine's smile captured in dozens of frames. I picked up my phone and scrolled through recent text conversations with Sarah, all brief and impersonal. "Merry Christmas, Dad. Thanks for the gift card. Sorry, can't make lunch this weekend. Lily has a play date. We're all fine, just busy. We'll call soon." There was nothing of substance, nothing that suggested a real relationship. I'd been slowly erased from their lives, and I'd allowed it to happen, always backing down, always accepting excuses, never demanding the respect I deserved as a father and grandfather. Well, not anymore. I spent the evening writing a letter to Sarah, pouring out everything I'd kept inside for years. My grief over losing Elaine, my hurt at being pushed aside, my confusion over what I'd done to deserve such treatment. I wrote about my love for Lily and my fear that she would grow up not knowing me, not understanding the legacy of family that came before her fancy house and privileged lifestyle. "I won't beg for scraps of your attention anymore," I concluded. "You're an adult, and you've made your choice clear. But remember this. Someday Lily will be old enough to ask questions, to wonder why her grandfather isn't in her childhood photos, why she doesn't have memories of me like her friends have of their grandparents. What will you tell her then?" I sealed the letter in an envelope, planning to mail it the next morning. Then, exhausted by emotion, I went to bed early, falling into a restless sleep, filled with dreams of Elaine telling me not to give up, not to walk away from our daughter and granddaughter. A pounding on my front door jolted me awake just after midnight. Confused and groggy, I stumbled through the dark house, flipping on lights as I went. Through the peephole, I saw Sarah standing on my porch, mascara streaked down her face, hair disheveled, looking nothing like the polished woman who had dismissed me hours earlier. I opened the door cautiously. "Sarah? What's wrong? Is Lily okay?" "She asked for you," Sarah said, her voice breaking. "All day she kept asking where Grandpa was. I told her you weren't feeling well, but she didn't believe me. She cried when she opened your gift, that beautiful storybook with the recordings of you reading each page. She made us play your voice over and over." Sarah looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. And then, during cake, she announced to everyone that her birthday wish was for her grandpa to feel better. All those important people Tom wanted to impress. They looked at us like we were monsters for keeping you away on her birthday. I stood silently, letting her words sink in. The storybook had been a last-minute addition to the dollhouse I'd originally planned to give, a collection of Elaine's favorite children's stories that I'd recorded myself reading, with a button on each page that played my voice. "Can I come in?" Sarah asked timidly, looking smaller somehow, more like the young girl I remembered than the stranger she'd become. I stepped aside, allowing her into the house she'd grown up in but hadn't visited in months. She walked directly to the mantel, where the family photos were displayed, picking up one of her mother. "I miss her so much," she whispered. "Every day." "I know," I said quietly. "So do I. After Mom died, I felt so lost. Tom got this big promotion, and suddenly we were thrust into this new world with all these expectations. These people with their perfect lives and perfect families. I wanted that so badly. I wanted to belong. And I reminded you of what you were trying to leave behind," I finished for her. She turned to face me, fresh tears spilling. "I was so wrong, Dad. So wrong. These people, they don't care about us. Not really. All they care about is appearances and connections, and whose kid got into what exclusive preschool. Sarah sank onto the couch, looking around the familiar room. When Lily asked for you today, I realized what I've been doing. I've been cutting her off from real love, from her history, from the kind of childhood I had, imperfect but authentic. I sat beside her, cautious, uncertain. Why, Sarah? I never judged your choices. I just wanted to be part of your lives. I know, she said, her voice small. I think I was angry at you. For what? For moving on after Mom died. You seemed okay, volunteering, making friends at the community center, building things in your workshop. Meanwhile, I was falling apart inside, trying to hold it together for Tom and Lily, feeling like an orphan even though I still had you. The revelation hit me like a physical blow. All this time I'd thought I was being pushed away because I wasn't good enough, when really, Sarah had been struggling with her own grief, interpreting my coping mechanisms as indifference. I never moved on, I said gently. I just found ways to keep going. Your mother wouldn't have wanted me to stop living, and she certainly wouldn't have wanted me to pull you down with my grief. I thought I was being strong for you. Sarah leaned against my shoulder the way she used to as a child. After you left today, Lily asked me why I was mean to Grandpa. A 4-year-old, almost 5, saw what I couldn't. She told me, Mommy, being sad about Grandma doesn't mean we can't love Grandpa. Undi, out of the mouths of babes, right? We sat in silence for a moment, the weight of years of misunderstanding between us. Tom and I had a huge fight after everyone left, Sarah continued. He kept saying it was for the best, that we needed to upgrade our social circle, including family. I finally saw it, how shallow it all was, how empty. I packed an overnight bag for Lily and drove to a hotel. She's there now, with the front desk checking on her while I came here. I straightened up alarmed. You left your daughter alone in a hotel room? No, Sarah quickly clarified. My friend Angela is with her. I couldn't stay in that house tonight, not with Tom, not after realizing what I've become. The Sarah I knew would never have left her child, even with a friend, to drive across town in the middle of the night. Whatever had happened after I left must have been catastrophic. What are you going to do now? I asked carefully. Sarah wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I don't know. Tom and I need to have a serious conversation about values and priorities. Maybe counseling. But one thing I do know, I want Lily to have her grandfather in her life. Real, present, not just a voice in a storybook or a name mentioned occasionally. She looked at me, vulnerability clear in her eyes. Can you forgive me, Dad? For today? For everything? I thought about the letter sitting on my desk, filled with hurt and accusations. I thought about the months of isolation and rejection. I thought about standing on that porch, being told I wasn't welcome. But then I thought about Elaine, who always said that family was worth fighting for, even when it was hard. Especially when it was hard. There's nothing to forgive, I said, pulling my daughter into a hug. We're family. We figure it out together. Sarah clung to me, sobbing now, all the carefully constructed walls crumbling. I'm so sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. Shh, I soothed, stroking her hair the way I had when she was small. It's going to be okay. Will you come back with me? She asked, pulling away to look at me. To the hotel. Lily will be so happy to see you in the morning. We could have breakfast together, the 3 of us. I smiled, feeling a weight lift from my shoulders. I'd like that very much. As we drove through the quiet midnight streets toward the hotel, Sarah glanced over at me. I almost forgot to tell you, Lily loved your storybook so much that she made everyone at the party listen to Grandpa's stories. Even Tom's boss ended up asking where we got such a meaningful gift. It was nothing fancy, I said. Just memories. That's exactly it, Dad, Sarah replied softly. Memories are what matter, not houses or cars or neighborhood associations, just love and memories. We arrived at the hotel, and as we walked through the quiet lobby, I felt a sense of hope I hadn't experienced in years. Tomorrow wouldn't fix everything. Sarah and Tom had serious issues to work through. Trust between my daughter and me needed to be rebuilt. But tonight had shown me that beneath all the pretense and distance, the essential bonds of family remained. When we quietly entered the hotel room, Lily was sleeping peacefully, her friend Angela dozing in a chair nearby. My granddaughter clutched my storybook to her chest, her small finger still resting on one of the play buttons, as if she'd fallen asleep listening to my voice. Sarah gently woke Angela and thanked her for staying. After her friend left, Sarah turned to me with tears in her eyes again. "Look at her, Dad. She knew better than both of us." I nodded, too moved to speak. In the soft hotel lamplight, watching my granddaughter sleep with my gift clutched to her heart, I understood something profound about family. Sometimes the youngest members teach the most important lessons about forgiveness, about priorities, about love that transcends misunderstandings and hurt feelings. Sarah and I settled into chairs on opposite sides of Lily's bed, keeping vigil together as we once had when Sarah was small and sick with childhood fevers. We talked quietly through the night, beginning the long process of reconnecting, of sharing the grief we'd both carried separately for too long. As dawn broke, Lily stirred and opened her eyes, looking first at her mother, then turning to see me. The joy that spread across her face was worth every moment of pain I'd endured. "Grandpa!" she exclaimed, launching herself into my arms. "You're all better! My birthday wish came true!" Over her head, my eyes met Sarah's. In that moment, I knew that sometimes being turned away from a door can eventually lead you home. True family, I realized, isn't about perfect appearances or social standing. It's about finding your way back to each other, even when the path seems impossible. It's about forgiveness and second chances, and the courage to admit when you've lost your way. As Lily chattered excitedly about her party and her presents, bouncing between Sarah and me with equal affection, I silently thanked Elaine for the family we'd created together. Imperfect, sometimes broken, but ultimately resilient. In the end, love finds a way to heal even the deepest wounds, if we're brave enough to open the door when it comes knocking. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. To hear the next story, just click on the box on the screen. Thank you so much for listening.